Ramadan.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, and we certainly hope that this is the second day of Ramadan, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does bless us with good health, stamina, peace of mind, and of course to keep those tempers in check, inshallah. And that is part of our test, is it not? So inshallah it's going to be a Mubarak Ramadan in every sense of the word. But what about those people suffering from different diseases? How do they cope? And we also know that people who suffer from any disease can make life very difficult for their loved ones because they don't know how to cope. And when they don't know how to cope, they're probably in lots of pain, bodily and, body and mental pain. And sadly, all of that frustration gets taken out on the people nearest and dearest to them. One of those diseases that we're going to talk about this morning is the disease of substance abuse. And yes, it has been classified as a disease, no longer a recreation of choice where you marginalize and people kind of say that it's your fault that you find yourself in a situation like that. And even in the community, you are fingered and you are whispered about behind your back, you and your family. Sadly, it has happened in the past, but thankfully, now that addiction or substance abuse has been classified as a disease, just like diabetes and any other disease, hopefully the stigma regarding addiction and other mental health issues will be will kind of fall away, and society and communities at large can support the families that find themselves in these situations. But of course, we also have people like Dr. Nazeem Abrams. He is the director of Lighthouse on the Horizon. It is a rehab facility in, I think it's Witpoortjie, on the west of Johannesburg, and a whole host of other facilities throughout the country. They play a vital role in helping our loved ones get better. We often hear that it's not curable. So I'm hoping Dr. Nazim Abrams is going to tell us today that it is curable, and with love, support, and faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, anything and everything is possible. Assalamu alaikum to you, Dr. Nazim Abrams. Ramadan Mubarak to you. Lovely to be talking with you once again after a very, very long time.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. And as always, it's an absolute pleasure and an honor to be on the show, on the talk with you, Auntie Julie. It is really an absolute honor. We always kind of choose the wonderful topics.
Absolutely, absolutely. And in this particular instance, it is so relevant and so important, uh, for simply for the marginalization, because there is still, even though I have said that addiction is now classified as a disease, and people need to understand that in 99% of the cases, it's a situation of the person not having been able to help himself to find themselves in the situation where they're in. And that's where you come in as well. And this is a platform for us to educate our loved ones, our families, and our community at large in how we can assist and support them, not only during the month of Ramadan, but in this journey of them, becoming well again, to reclaim their health and well-being.
No, absolutely, and you're right in the sense it's twofold when we talk about cures. Okay, we talk about cures and then we talk about cures, and it's quite funny that we even think of it that way. But if you take diabetes, for example, okay, there's no real cure for it, but there is a way to live and a way to live a normal life even while having it. And sometimes if your diets are absolutely consistent and right, and you actually get to a point where you can even wean yourself down on medications, and you live absolutely correct and in accordance of, you'll even find that you can even move away from the medication, or the clinical medicinal part of it, and you can find yourself living a very normal life. And as that, I classify, or I can relate to addiction, and the recovery process with addiction. If you get to a point where you go through a recovery program, like with Lighthouse, for example, we retrain your brain. We teach you how to live life. We teach you how to cope and how to deal with situations and events. We teach you how to be able to handle different event situations. We teach you how to put yourself first. We teach you ways to live. And if you live in accordance of that, and if you live to that letter, and you stick to your healthy diets, and you don't eat too much junk foods, and you don't take any unnecessary medicinal medications that can bring you back to a chemically imbalanced state, or that can trigger your mental ability of your old life coming back where you stored it in your subconscious back to your conscious. The reality of it is that if you so do that, you can actually live a very normal life. So there's a cure, yes. The cure is to live the sunnah, is to live the way we were taught by the Quran, the way we were taught by our beloved Prophet Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's your cure.
It must be especially challenging for people who have loved ones in addiction. You're running a beautiful facility. We've heard lots of success stories from your facility, which is called Lighthouse on the Horizon, based here in the western suburbs of Johannesburg. Um, Let us understand, if you're having to up your support during the month of Ramadan, is it that much more challenging for the person who is suffering or grappling with substance abuse? And what is it that loved ones can do to assist the person through the process so that everyone can have a very Mubarak Ramadan?
Yeah. Um, the reality of it is, first and foremost, and I want to just very briefly touch on that. I think there has been for many years, there's been a misunderstanding or misconception of what Ramadan is really all about. When we talk about fasting, we find people feasting. When we talk about feasting, people are not fasting. So one of those things is that comes into direct confrontation with what I'm dealing with right now. Why I say so is because youngsters or people are used to having a certain way in Ramadan when they're at home. So now they're in the treatment center, and it's a whole different ballgame. It's a whole different concept, because here we are about fasting and not feasting, and that becomes very challenging. But one also needs to understand rather than to be understood. So you've got to work with these guys, and you've got to empower them, and you've got to educate them. And they do win. They've never. I mean, I've got guys who genuinely are suffering with other illnesses like diabetes, like epilepsy, and these boys want to fast. They want to fast. They know they can't fast, but they want to fast. And so we got to make a decision, yeah, whether we're going to push them to fast or let them fast on their own, let them make the decision, or are we going to, take it very easy with them? And I believe that we should take it very easy with them. We should let them reacquaint themselves with these processes, because remember, for years they didn't do it, and for years their bodies don't understand it, their mental capacities can't comprehend with it. So it's not just about fasting and staying hungry, and making salah and reading Quran and doing all the dhikrs and the rituals that goes with the fasting, which is utmostly important. But one needs to understand that these youngsters are also suffering from a disease. And if this is not, if it's not well put together for them to actually get back into it, for the lack of a better word, getting back into the swing of things. But we've got to empower them. We've got to train them up. We've got to prepare them mentally for this process. It's not just it's Ramadan, you're going to fast.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. I will be coming back to you in a minute or two, but I see somebody else by the name of Ahmed on the screen as well. What is that all about? Okay, the controllers are just telling me to ignore that little picture there. Not sure what that's about. Um, I'm wondering, when you have people come into the facility for, obviously, for the problem of addiction, and you're helping them through the process, they're there for 3 months or longer. Would fasting, Ramadan, and everything that's required of them during the month of Ramadan perhaps put them back a little bit? Or do you believe that it could truly complement their healing and take them forward, inshallah?
Absolutely compliment. Absolutely compliment. I'm doing this for over 21 years now, Auntie Julie, and it's absolutely complemented the healing process. Because remember, for the longest period of time, they have not been in touch with their emotional selves or their emotional beings. Here they become more in touch with their emotional beings. They are more psychologically clear. So a lot of the good that was pushed aside, that was unlearned, is now being reinculcated and relearned. So it does certainly complement, and it strengthen them completely and holistically. It strengthens them. So the month of Ramadan is an absolute uh, 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 not just a pleasure to be and to be a part of, and to be able to be alive and be with and experience it, but it is a blessing. It's a complete blessing to any person that is suffering with this disease, and going through a challenge, or having a challenge with this problem. If they can just engage in everything that is supposed to be engaged within the month of Ramadan, in order for them to uh, find the positives that awaits for them. It is a definite compliment.
All right, we're going to go for an ad break. When we come back, I want to talk a little bit about your treatment program. I want to talk about the length of stay. And then let's also look at the reason why people relapse. And is it a good idea then to take them back after a while, into a treatment center? And what are the do's and don'ts about getting people into a center for treatment? All of that and more right after the ad break with Dr. Nazeem Abrams. He is the director of Lighthouse on the Horizon. It is a rehab center based in the west, in Johannesburg, on the western side of Johannesburg. I think it's in Witpoortjie. Am I correct when I say it's in
It's
Witpoortjie?
actually Willow Park, Roodepoort.
Willow Park, there you go. Right, we'll be back with you in a minute or two.
Media, your spiritual companion this Ramadan.
From samosas and half moons to cook sisters and roti, everything between iftar and seri makes sunfoil cooking oil an essential part of your Ramadan. Approved by the Heart and Stroke Foundation as part of a healthy diet, this blessed month, give your family the best with sunfoil, because tradition just tastes better.
This Ramadan, join hands with Muslim hands to make a meaningful difference in the lives of millions worldwide. Your zakah and sadaqah can be the lifeline for those in need. Together we can nourish the hungry in South Africa and across the globe, offer clean water to impoverished communities, empower women with sustainable livelihoods, and bring relief to families grappling with the aftermath of natural disasters and conflict. Be their beacon of hope today. Connect with us at muslimhands.org.za or dial 021 633 6413 to extend your support.
World-class financial services only at Sapphire Global, your financial partner. If you are looking for Islamic Sharia and ethical financial products, look no further. Sapphire Global offers a wide range of financial service offerings from short-term to life and investments. A full-service center with all financial requirements under one brand. Our highly skilled and experienced consultants are ready to help protect your financial future. Contact us on 041 001 0184 or visit our website on www.sapphireglobalfs.com. Sapphire Global is an authorized financial services provider.
Are you looking for a cross-border road transport company that is committed in achieving high safety standards, who is fast and efficient, and also excel in customer service? Gardi Global specializes in cross-border transport from South Africa to Mozambique, Zimbabwe, Zambia, and Malawi. Gardi Global, situated at 10 Daniel Road, Benrose, Johannesburg. For inquiries, contact our trained staff on 011 614 3108 or email info@gardiglobal.co.za. Safe long haul into Africa is our business. Gardi Global Transport.
Salam Media, a global voice for humanity.
I am deeply, deeply disturbed at this forum that is going to happen and that South Africa is going to host it. I'm deeply disturbed that our government cannot make the distinction between what one might call normal circumstances and extraordinary circumstances. I do not know what is more extraordinary in our world right now than the genocidal war that is continuing and that is ratcheting up itself every single day.
Dr. Alan Busak, he's an anti-apartheid activist.
This is Salam Media.
This is Salam Media, and you are listening to Julie Ali.
You are listening to Salam Media live from our headquarters in South Africa. This is Salam Media, keeping you company this Ramadan.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to our special Ramadan program. It is, of course, the mid-morning show with me, Julie Ali. We do hope that you are enjoying the different interviews that we have for you on the specific show. And as you are also aware, we have a different host throughout the week. And so that means that you're not going to be bored with looking at the same face or listening to the same voice. But be that as it may, that's what it's all about, is it not, to bring you a variety of topics, presenters and guests to keep our valued viewers and listeners entertained. Back to you, Dr. Nazeem Abrams, Director of Lighthouse on the Horizon in Willow Park, Johannesburg. Let's look at the phenomenon over the past couple of years. Every time a family had a loved one who's suffering from substance abuse, it seems because they want peace and quiet during the month of Ramadan, they actually pack these loved ones off to a treatment center like yours, but it would be only for the month. Does that help? Does it conscientize the patient? What are your thoughts around that? And in your opinion, how long should the stay be of a patient in a treatment center?
Right. First and foremost, that definitely doesn't help. That's actually part of the problem. But a huge part of the problem of addiction is a lack of communication, a lack of understanding, a lack of conversation, and unstable or no relationship at all with significant others and loved ones. And that's a big part of the addiction and the problems of addiction. So it definitely doesn't help to pack one up and send him to a treatment center for 1 month. Second question or second answer, the time and or the stint in a primary care facility cannot in fact be determined by time. It has to be determined by progress. So yes, theoretically, because of medical aids or because of different commitments, people find it necessary to stipulate a particular time frame, like 3 weeks, 8 weeks, 21 days. I can't see any of that happening, particularly when we are dealing with individuals that has an individualized disease. This disease is not one disease that is made up by one a virus like most others, and can be treated significantly with one type of treatment plan. Unfortunately, it doesn't work like that. The disease of addiction is very vast, it's very particular, it's very independent, and it's slimline to every individual, very difficult to. So there are commonalities, yes, attitudinal and behavioral disorders, false frame of mind, and faulty belief systems. These are the common factors, but the addictions are very different and is very individualized. Therefore, the treatment plans has to be. So the answer to that question is really very simple. Time is determined by progress of the individual, not by time, because the person can say he's going into an 8-week program, which is 2 months, or a 12-week program, which is 3 months, and he gets there and he only arrives emotionally and psychologically 1.5 months later, and 1.5 months of your program is gone. So then
So,
he's only getting 1.5 months.
so Dr. Nazim, let's ask you this all-important question. We know that people that suffer from substance abuse are in denial. They think that they've got this. They think they will be able to heal themselves. They also under the false belief that when they decide to stop, it will stop. But the reality is that by then, the disease is way too far for them to be able to get out of that situation or that hectic treadmill that they're on. And as you rightly say, it's different. The disease is different for different people. Different people manage it and handle it differently because of the complexity of their personalities, their character, and other comorbidities that they might have. In many instances, other mental health issues. How do you at Lighthouse at the Horizon deal with those? The mental health issues, perhaps bipolar or schizophrenia or, panic
So
disorder,
one of my
etc.
first one of my first contingency plans in dealing with those particular aspects that is very real and later has entangled itself with a physical addiction of some sort, is first of all to take those few steps back and start off right from the beginning by doing a very natural and intensive purification process with the hope, inshallah, that we can actually get the person to become chemically balanced, emotionally stable, and available, and then start the retraining of the brain, which we found quite a lot of success in, where youngsters that were diagnosed with depression and diagnosed with schizophrenia and diagnosed with induced psychosis, or that was diagnosed with various other mental illnesses. We've actually turned it around for them. Unfortunately, some of these factors or some of these isolated situations, you find incidents where or situations where individuals actually needs to be on medication, and that's how we then deal with it. Then after doing what we needed to do, and we find that in this particular case it is like that, then we need to then with our contracting psychiatry team and psychological team, we then put together a treatment plan, and we start administering the necessary medications. But we still retrain the brain through attitudinal and behavioral disorders can be unlearned. Anything that is learned can be unlearned. Might take longer for some than to others, but it can be unlearned. So that again determines your stay in your time frame, because some can learn faster and some will learn longer. Those who learn faster, time will be shorter. Those who takes longer to actually learn and to become more positive and accurately participating in the process and letting that which they identifying become their true selves again, depending on the length of time that process takes, will actually help determine the time frame. But that is how we deal with it.
Obviously, because you deal with different personalities, as you've indicated right from the outset, that it's not one size fits all. You need to tailor make a process or a program for each individual patient. I guess the baseline would be very similar, but you take all of the other characteristics into account when you're dealing with each individual. That being said, what are the greatest of challenges? And also, what's the success rate like at your facility?
So the challenges you will come when we look at the baseline of a particular program to assist with attitudinal and behavioral disorders and the reshaping of behavior shaping and management, and also with the emotional and psychological, also with the spiritual and intellectual, also assisting then with vocational and survival skills. Those are just the four pillars, four structures of the program. Then we have five pillars of the program, which is the value and you concept, peer pressure, therapeutic sessions, religious sessions, and then role modeling. Now, if you take the four structures and the five pillars, which is a very baseline program that will assist with the redevelopment or rebuilding of attitudinal and behavioral disorders and the reshaping and behavior and managing one's behavior, then if the individual don't even grasp that, then the major challenge now becomes, how do you write a treatment plan psychologically to work for this individual, to assist this individual to be able to heal psychologically. That's one of the major challenges I face. And people will say, but we don't get one-on-ones, we don't get this, we don't get that. What are we going to talk about? What exactly do you want me to say to you on how do you want me to help you help yourself if you haven't even started helping yourself? So these are the challenges we face in the treatment center. And I'm sure my colleagues out there will agree with me 100% that this is the challenges we're facing in most, if not all, treatment centers. It's that just covering that first step where one needs to be able to adhere to the baseline program and master the baseline program in order to reshape your behavior and manage your behavior, which will now assist with your emotional and psychological state and your spiritual state, and which will help you in actually surviving through survival skills. But in order to get there, one needs to be disciplined, one needs to be sincere, one needs to be honest, you know. But
Dr.
if there's
Nazeem, let me come in here. Let me come in here. By and large, people that abuse substances become very difficult, belligerent, argumentative. They know it all. They know all the answers. You can't tell them how how the program's going to work for them. And those are the very people whom, after a stint, will relapse. How do you deal with that type of, and I'm sure from what I have, doing my research, I have found that the majority of patients display all of those characteristics. Is it them pushing back because they know they're going to have to give up their drugs of choice and the whole lifestyle is going to have to change? Is it them that feel that they're so scared that the drug's going to be pulled out from under them? And is it because they've been told that physically the whole process of detoxing and adapting a whole new lifestyle is very painful mentally, emotionally, and physically?
Yeah, a lot of that is very accurate. Um, and Julia, a lot of that is very accurate. But I think if we sum it up all, I think most humans are just scared of change.
Ah,
We become so comfortable, and when we become comfortable, we become complacent, and we just get used to stuff, and then we just let it be, and that's how we live, and that's what we do. Now, addiction is very much the same. There's no one person that I've ever met in over 20 years that can honestly sit and look me in the eye and say that he actually really enjoyed drugs, taking drugs all the time. Not possible, because somewhere in there's that human that knows he's hurting himself, that knows he's hurting his loved ones, but they don't know how to change. They want to change. I think, and I need to advocate on behalf of the addict. The addict is the one that wants change the most, even more so than their loved ones, but they don't know how, and they fear this change. They fear this change with so much that they push back and they refuse, and they do all the things you spoke about earlier, and they hold tight onto that because they don't know anything else. They don't know how to deal with anything any differently. They fear the fact that if those tools are taken away, if that way is
Crutch. I
taken
think it's a
away
crutch, is it not?
completely, completely,
Mm.
it's more of a wheelchair, never mind a crutch.
Now, Nazim, we've actually come to the end of the show. I'm so sorry. I'm going to have to end it there. Your final words regarding uh, rehab centers like yours, Lighthouse on the Horizon. People often tend to think when their loved one comes out of a particular center, and if they relapse a short while later, they blame the rehab center and they say, oh, that's not a good facility at all. Not realizing where the fault lies. So, talk to us about that quickly.
My last words in this would be, first of all, to all loved ones out there, this is a disease. It has been classified as that, and more so, do not be in denial about it, because by being in denial about it, you're literally killing your sons and your daughters, firstly. And secondly, rehabilitation centers are there to educate, empower, teach, and to provide the necessary skills. The long and short of it is, the person that is being given these necessary skills is the one responsible for the success of his or her rehabilitative process, and their lives, and their futures. They're responsible for that, and that's a responsibility that wasn't given to them by you as a parent or by me as a director of a rehab center. That responsibility was given to them by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who gave them life, and who's given them that life with an extra gift. I call it a bonus gift, the gift of choice. The gift of life was given to them. And one of the fundamental conditions of that was that you are accountable and responsible for that life. How you live it is entirely up to you by using the gift of choice. So I really want to end in saying to all our loved ones, yes, don't be in denial. We as rehab centers, we are here like any other hospitals. We are registered with the Departments of Social Development, DSD. We are registered with the health departments. We are registered like just about any other hospital that you frequently go to and happy to go to. That's what we are about. We are hospitals. We are here to deal with the mental illness and the disease of addiction.
And I could go on with you for the better part of the morning. But as I've indicated, we do have to move on because we do have our next guest standing by. We've also got to get through a competition. There's so many more questions I did need to put to you, but perhaps on a follow-up show, we can talk about your success rate. We can talk about the type of treatment plan you have in place, and also more importantly, once the patient is out of the facility, that's really when the hard work starts. Isn't that so? Because they need to have a sponsor, they need to do support work, they need to be on their toes all of the time. But let's leave it possibly for the last show in Ramadan this month, because I think if I don't speak with you again, we'll have left this discussion half complete. So I will talk with you again, inshallah. Keep us in your du'as. Lots and lots of du'as for the amazing work you're doing and the wonderful lives that come out of there with hope. Go well,
Ameen.
and salamu alaikum to you.
Jazakallah khair. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
That was Dr. Nazeem Abrams, the director of Lighthouse on the Horizon in World Park West of Johannesburg, the go-to place if you need to have your loved one in a program where their healing needs to start. It is exactly 20 after 12, and before we are joined with our final guest this morning, and that of course is Tasneem Ahmed, some good news. It's a giveaway, it's a competition, and we have two people who are going to be participating. They are contestant number 1, Ahmed Fidi from Cape Town. Contestant number 2 is Shahida Shebi from Lodium. And of course, there are 5 questions to both of the contestants. If they both answer correctly, we'll have to go into sudden death. And if there is a tie, then another round of sudden death. So that's how this is going to play out. Let's go for a break, and when we come back, we'll introduce our 2 contestants to you.